Is it on? Mm-hmm. What's the battery percentage?
79.
Cool. We're making lean dough. Lean dough. I'm just kidding. That's fine. All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with yeast. We're gonna do dry measuring, liquid measuring, weight measuring, and make dough at the same time. That's falling over. All right. Recipe calls for how much yeast? 2 capital T. Capital T means tablespoon. The lowercase t means teaspoon. Okay? This is our tablespoon. Okay? So we're going for two tablespoons. So when you scoop this, oh look, you find buried treasure. Don't leave all these in here. Okay, so this is our yeast. Keep this in the fridge because it's active, okay? So this is a rounded scoop. We don't do that. We level it out, okay? So we need 2 of them. 1, 2, baby. Just like that. We'll start with the yeast in this dough, okay? What we're gonna do is we're gonna bloom the yeast with the sugar and the water, okay? Salt kills the yeast and slows it down, so we add the salt later on. Okay, so now we're gonna add the sugar. Sugar, half a cup, okay? So this is half a cup. Perfect. You scoop it and you scrape the top off so that it's a level half a cup. See? Can you see it? Through the bowl. Okay? That's half a cup. That's too much. Okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to add our water. How much water does it call for? 7 cups. This is the pitcher we're going to use. Someone's been nice enough to mark it for you. Right here. 7 cups. Because in 1 quart there's 4 cups. So half a quart, which is a pint, there's 2 cups, so 2, 4, 6, halfway between 6 and 8 would be 7. So we're gonna go fill this up with water. Follow me. Okay, the water has to be body temperature 100 degrees. Okay, anything hotter than 110, the yeast dies. Anything colder than 100 degrees, it'll take forever for the bread to rise. So what I do is I turn the hot water on first. You put your finger in it. So you get it to 100 degrees. Take the thermometer and you check the temperature of it. 102, 103. What we're going for is between 100 and 105. See that? On the money. Can you see that with your camera? That's what we're going for. Okay? Same temperature as your body temp. We want that much water, and instead of wasting my time, I'm going to fill it up above there and pour it out until I get where I need. Down low like that. There you go. That's the line we're going for. Okay? Stand up tall. Look down at it. If you look down at it here, it might be different. So every time you're measuring, you gotta make sure you're measuring down level with it. Okay? If you mess up your water to flour ratio, it's gonna be too tough or too sticky. Has that happened to any of you guys? Yes, that's why this is important. That's what we're going for. See it? You guys all see that? If you look down at it like this, it looks like there's actually, let me see your camera. If you look down at it like this, it looks like there's more. Okay, that's why you gotta look at it level. I do my attendance. Okay. Let's add the water. Okay, so now we've done dry measuring with teaspoon and tablespoon and cup. Now we're doing liquid measuring, which we use this, our liquid measuring. We're adding that to our yeast. And what's happening now? What's it called? Yeast has yeast and sugar together with the water. What do they call it? The B? Anyone? Yes, blooming. I'm blooming the yeast. So the yeast is now rehydrating with the water, and it's eating the sugar. When the yeast eats sugar, it creates two things, CO2 and alcohol, okay? CO2 makes the bread rise, see the dough, how it's rising up? And the alcohol is expelled out during the baking process. They do the same thing for beer and wine, except they have a different kind of yeast that produces more alcohol and less CO2. That makes sense? You know how beer is carbonated? They capture the CO2 in there. Wine is not carbonated, they let the CO2 evaporate off, okay? So right now, the yeast is eating the sugar and creating CO2 and alcohol. That's what's gonna make the bread rise. If our water was too hot, then that wouldn't happen, the yeast would die. If we added salt in there instead of our sugar, the yeast would die. The reason we add salt to our bread is to give it some more flavor, but also to slow down the yeast growth process. So if your salt and sugar ratio is wrong, your bread won't rise, or it'll rise too quickly. Does that make sense? Cool. So I just mixed that up so it's incorporated. Next what we're gonna do is our, you can do anything. We can add our salt next. So bring the salt container over. All right, so this you're saying is this is what size cup? Okay, we're good. That's how much fell off. Okay, so if we had all that little bit in there, it's gonna make a difference. So when you do it, make sure they're level. Every one of them's level. It's supposed to be add quarter cup. Quarter cup, yeah. Okay, next what we're gonna do. Usually the hook in there. Shouldn't fall over. That's the wrong one. Can you get rid of that? Alright, cool. So we got our yeast, our water, now we're going to do our flour. So we're going to do how to use the scale. Can you grab me the counterweight? It's over there in the bucket. Counterweight. Okay, this is the scale that we're using, a balance beam scale. This is your ounce adjustment. You can see here at 1 through 16 how many different ounces. Right now I'm on 7 ounces. So if I was weighing something that was 7 ounces, 12 ounces, it would balance. Okay, that's not 12 ounces. That might be a pound of salt. It says in there 1 pound per ounce, but we used some of it, see? This salt here is 1 pound and about 8 ounces. See how it's balancing itself out? Paying attention? Because you're gonna have to do this by yourself without issue, okay? So that's something that we're weighing as its own vessel, just like that. But we're gonna be measuring flour. Flour, you can't put flour here because it'll fall all over the place. So what we can use is this container and its counterweight. So they should balance each other out, okay? So now you can add your dry ingredients into there, whether it's flour, chocolate chips, salt, sugar, whatever you're making, you can put your dry ingredients in here. But I know for a fact that our flour that we need won't fit in this container, so we're gonna use something else as a counterweight. So we're gonna put our flour into this bin, and we're gonna put our flour into, and this will be our counterweight. So these should balance each other.